the battle of the quarterbacks. Paul Coster of St. John's versus Tom Kupek of C.W. Post. Paul Coster has passed for more than 200 yards in each of his 4 games, and in those games he has led the Redmen to victory 3 times. Tom Kupek shows no signs of an early season hip injury when he throws. Last week he threw 3 touchdown passes in a win over Springfield. It helps a team if their quarterback can run with the ball, and both men have shown the ability to do so. Kupek is the quick scrambler type, as opposed to Coster, the get out of my way or I'll run you over type. But mostly the footballs will fly. Kupek and Post, Coster and St. John's, they're ready to take it to the air as Cablevision presents the Liberty Conference.
Today's Liberty Conference game is being brought to you by Apple Bank for Savings. We're good for you.
This is Redmond Field on the campus of St. John's University, Jamaica, Queens. And today is the first meeting ever between the Redmen and the C.W. Post Pioneers. It's the Liberty Conference Game of the Week on Cablevision.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers, along with Emerson Boozer, on a cloudy day here in the early November. And first time these schools are meeting, but it's kind of interesting. C.W. Post, of course, the great football tradition throughout the years with Division II, and St. John's, kind of the new kid on the block. They came up through club football with Bob Ricka. They've established themselves as an outstanding Division III program. Should be a very interesting game. Fills the air with footballs with the 2 quarterbacks we have today.
Yes, they will. They'll throw the football an awful lot, but usually when clubs have reputations of throwing the football, they try to live that down. So we should see more running than usual this afternoon.
All right, Post comes off a big 28-6 victory over Springfield last week. They rushed the football for over 240 yards in that game. And Joe Chetty had a big game offensively, 126 yards. But, of course, their big forte is passing the football. Tommy Kupek, after struggling against Montclair State, had a good game last week. He's an outstanding quarterback.
Yes, he is. Tommy Kupek is a good mobile quarterback, can move around the pocket if he has to, and he can scramble when he wants to. So we'll see him throw the ball on the move and take off with it quite often.
Of course, the St. John's defense has given up a lot of points this year, averaging almost 22 points a game giving up. They're giving up about 350 yards total offense, about 170 yards passing. One of the guys that are going to have to play a big game in the secondary, John Newman. He's a strong safety, and they're going to be throwing the ball a lot in his area.
Just a couple of games ago, Newman was instrumental in breaking up key passes, and we expect him to do the same kind of thing this afternoon because the ball will be thrown in his area.
St. John's defensively has given up a lot of yards on the ground. They've got an outstanding linebacker in Wayne Hartshorn, of course. And when you talk about the other team, as far as St. John's is concerned, the offensive unit, Paul Coster has really come on. He replaced Mike Burrell in the Marist game, and he's been throwing the football very well of late.
I like Paul Coster. I like his size. He's 6'2", 6'3", 215 pounds, a big quarterback. Not as mobile as Kupek, but he has the ability to see downfield, stand with a lot of poise, and he can run the football if he has to.
Well, he threw for a couple of touchdowns last week in the last time they played against Iona, and he's a guy that has Brian Williams running the football very well in the backfield, but it figures that they're not going to run very often against a tough C.W. Post defense, led by a guy like Mike Jamison on that front 4.
Mike is a tough defensive lineman, and you're not going to find a much better defensive lineman in the Liberty Conference. So with Jamison trying to anchor down that front 4, we've got ourselves a good matchup this afternoon.
As far as Post is concerned, Em, they get back Gary Johnson and Ron Medeiros, the 2 linebackers we see go down early in the season in that Kings Point game. They're healthy. The Post defense is healthy. And on offense, they do have a couple of injuries. They're going to be without the services today. A little bit of Jimmy Patrica, who's banged up. He won't start at flanker. And the other guy who won't be starting today, Bob Messina. Rob Messina, he has a separated shoulder. But Tim Moore, who played very well last week, ran for 69 yards, will be starting at fullback. So both clubs do have the capabilities of running the football.
And both clubs are a little bit banged up, as we've mentioned, but I think St. John's has probably the healthier club. Post will miss some of the ball players offensively, but thankfully they're getting the defensive ball players back.
So the stage is set for the showdown, and Carl Reuter returns with the coach of the C.W. Post Club. I guess Carl's ready right now, so let's go to Carl and Tom Marshall.
Down here in the field before the start of today's game, Carl Reuter with Coach Tom Marshall of CW Post. And Tom, last week a pretty big win over Division II school Springfield.
Yeah, I thought we played very well, and I think we got the running game going, which is very, very important to us. And Joe Chetty had an excellent football game. I think one of the things, too, is Tom Kupek is perfectly healthy, and I think we're ready to go.
With Kupek throwing the ball so well and with that running game, you're dynamic now on offense. What about defensively trying to stop Paul Coster of St. John's? They can air it out.
Yeah, they can throw the ball very well. I guess practicing against ourselves, though, does help our defense. We've only given up one touchdown pass through the air this year.
What about the conference games? You've only played one thus far. You got a heavy load the second half of the season. Is that concerning on your part?
Oh, yeah, we were talking this morning. Here we are. We've only played one game. We're out of the conference title already. So it's very funny how the schedule came around, but we'll play 4 in a row now.
Coach, best of luck in today's game.
Thank you very much.
And Barry and Emerson will be back with the opening kickoff following this timeout. You're watching Liberty Conference football on Cablevision.
Hi, I'm Barry Landers with Jerry McDougal, president of Apple Bank. Jerry, college now, high school last year. We're delighted to have you back for both this season.
And we're delighted to be back, Barry. As a matter of fact, from the very outset last year, we had a very neighborly feeling concerning our sponsorship of Long Island sports. Now this year, that feeling has grown into a family feeling. And at Apple Bank for Savings, we're about to introduce the Apple Bank Family Program. Listen for details soon.
Apple Bank for Savings. We're good for you.
Back at Redmond Field, Barry Landers along with Emerson Boozer. As you see, the St. John's Redmond getting set to go. There's Bob Ricker with a clipboard. Let's take a look at the comparisons between these two clubs. 4 and 3 for St. John's, Post 3 and 2. And Emerson, as you look at the passing, you can see that St. John's has passed an average 236 yards per game. They rush 119. Those were those totals come out to. They give up 350 yards defensively, and they've averaged 355 yards offensively. Post, on the other hand, in those passing yards, 229 yards per game. They rush for 90 yards a game. That's up from the previous total. And they get about 319 yards per game offensively, giving up 260. One of the interesting things to note that Post has allowed just one touchdown pass all year. And, of course, St. John's offense primarily a passing offense. So we're just about set to go. Stefan Tufano will kick off for Post. And back to receive the kick deep are Brian Williams. And as it bounces out of bounds, it'll be kicked over once again. As you see the officials there, and we'll tell you about the officials in just a moment. They are a veteran crew that we've had on before, featuring the referee Larry Kukachka. And we'll have the kick brought back. And there you see the referee Larry Kukachka, Bob Lang, Ray Rennert, Steve Zimmer, Bob Astorita, and Al Jacklin. So the kickoff now will come from the 35-yard line. What do you look for early in the game, some trend we might key on?
I would say right now, Post having the wind at his back, they're going to want to throw the football immediately because if you're going to take advantage of anybody, meaning St. John's, rather, if you want to take advantage of the wind situation, St. John's will have to try to run the football, and Post will have the wind at his back.
That's a good point. And the wind is, in fact, that Joe Tassa is one of the deep men, along with number 39, Brian Williams. He's the speedster out of Bayshore, former CW Post player. A transfer student. There are a lot of ties between these two schools, and we'll get to them. Bob Ricker, of course, was a star at Post in the 60s. And Tom Marshall began his coaching career as a coach in club football. This is Brian Williams to the 30 and is down at around the 31, 32-yard line, where the Redmen will put it in play. 1st and 10 as we begin this football game. The quarterback will be Paul Costa, number 15, 6'4", 215-pound junior from Holy Cross High School, resident of New Hyde Park. He took over for Mike Burrell. There you see his stats. He has a pretty good completion percentage, 7 interceptions through 2 touchdowns against Iona. Joe Tassa out of West Islip, Brian Williams out of Bayshore. Outstanding receivers, Chris Esposito, Tony Sass, and Jim Weissenberger. He's just about all-American the way he's played this year.
You can't ask for a better player.
Williams looking for the opening, and he'll go for about a yard against that tough Post defense. Really an 8-man front that Post displays them, isn't it?
Basically, it is. They bring the linebackers in tight. As we look at the linebackers in the left end, whether Mike Jameson, Vandello, and DeLillo, and Bargan.
Van Bargan has 8 sacks, so he's a guy to watch today. Gary Johnson, and we told you the linebackers, Ronnie Medeiros, are back in.